engage with your members, let them give you their views and exchange the views with your members. With those few words, Comrade Secretary General, you are welcome in your branch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, comrades, and good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon, comrades. Yeah. When I came here, I come from a very important meeting at Luthuli House earlier on, which started this morning, and that meeting was about the issues we are attending to in the Northwest Province, which is about the action plan that we are implementing at the present moment in terms of local government. The action plan that we adopted, which was tabled before our councillors across the length and breadth of our country in what was called a roll call, where the president delivered the marching orders, and we also delivered the action plan to all our councillors across the length and breadth of our country. So that's where we come from. So I was told that this BGM would have started long time ago, and therefore comrades have invited me to, in this meeting, present as a discussion on the rebuilding and renewal of the organization and the state of the organization. In terms of the Lily Sleeve BGM, which is a very special place that we are at. You know that the Rivonia trialist, if we talk about them, we talk about Lily Sleeve farm. So, comrades, this is a very important occasion for the branch, because many of us, we ask ourselves as to what happens in the BGM, what do most of our branches do? And when we get branches coming together and engaging in important issues that face our organization, that is also very important for our work. So I want to first to greet the branch executive committee, the chair and the secretary and all officials of the BC and all members present, and the regional secretary, Comrade Sasabona Manganye, who have sacrificed coming to this meeting, sacrificing Kaiser Chiefs at Dobsonville. I do see some brave faces here with Kaiser Chiefs t-shirts. You are brave, Kaiser Chiefs, but I leave it to you. I belong to another team of warriors, which is Orlando Pirates. And we have demonstrated that yesterday, that the warrior thing is in our DNA. We are fighters. But good luck to Kaiser Chiefs this afternoon, because if they win for all of us. But I know Kaiser Chiefs people, baneba minze, ore skara wina maubani. But Tina, we are not like that. We understand patriotism, that as long as we are within the borders of South Africa and you win a CAF competition, like where they are playing because of winning Nedbank, we're playing in the #1 competition in CAF. And so we will support them all the way. So, comrades, this is a very important occasion in the life of every branch of the African National Congress. Our branches meet under the tree. They meet on digital platforms. They don't exist, they exist there. And then they exist for conferences. So they don't exist for breathing life to society and connecting with the people. And on behalf of the African National Congress, where we actually live. So a branch of the ANC exists, in terms of its existence, is defined with a number of activities, which is key, is on what do we do best to execute and connect the ANC with the people of the area where you live through the ANC branch. Even if this ward does not belong to us, but the starting point of engaging our opponents is at the branch level. And where we are, it's a perfect engagement. And that defines the life existence of the ANC branch. The constitution of the ANC defines the branch as the basic unit. Everything begins at the branch. There are people from time to time with their grievances who march to Luthuli House. And then I ask them all the time, those who like to doing that, Luthuli House is not a branch. The branch is where you must lay your complaints. If you are dissatisfied about your councillor, the first point of expression is the branch. So it is not Luthuli House. There's no branch called Luthuli House. Luthuli House is the head office of the African National Congress. It is the branch that must connect with the people through the people's representatives like councillors. So a councillor of the ANC cannot just float without accountability. It's the same, comrades, with the executive and the president of the country. The president accounts to the National Executive Committee and therefore engages through those processes. As a president of the country, he accounts to the president of the ANC, who happens to be one person, but he accounts there. So that happens also at the branch level, that in your ward, because we have since transformed ourselves to be ward-based branches. In a ward, a councillor can't float. Some councillors are branch chairpersons. Some councillors are branch secretaries. But in certain instances, a councillor exists on his own in terms of election, that he does not belong to these structures. He's on his own, so he does not belong to the BC and so on. He's just a member of the branch. So there must be connection there, and they must enjoy some status in terms of the branch of the ANC. So branches also exist because of programs, not just theory, but also because of programs. What happens in our branch? What do we do? What activities as a BEC we have engaged members in? because members are you who are in this BGM today. You are members. Whether you are 30 or 40, you are members of the ANC, or you are 50, and all of that, from all dimensions. But the BEC is that group of people that coordinates you, undertake activities, ensure that members are lured into the activities of the organization from time to time. That is the task of the BEC. And in the BEC, you may find that the nucleus is about 2 or 3 people. The rest are nowhere to be found. They don't actually come. And then some of the branches are super branches. Mbalula belongs to a branch by name. And then and every time he wants to be elected, he hijack the branch status. And then you members, you give him the status to become a delegate on your behalf to a conference. The rest of the other members don't care. He enjoys only that status. And that's what is important. We can't have branches like that. A branch must be a branch because it engages in activities, in a program of action. A program of action that is clearly defined and adapt easily to the conditions of where the branch exists. A branch in Lily's Leaf, where we are, will be different from a branch in Dobsonville. And also in terms of membership, it will be reflected like that. It's either a branch that reflects the advanced populace of our country in terms of the black middle strata, and then as opposed to a completely working class branch of the ANC in Soweto or Orange Farm or anywhere else. So that's when we come to a branch in Lily's Leaf and you find a number of cars outside. Normally branch members, you won't find cars. They just walk in the township. And then some of our mothers, brothers, and sisters belong to this branch because they happen to work as domestic workers in the nearby areas and all of that. So what then becomes a program of the ANC branch in Lily's Leaf? And therefore, what do we engage members of the ANC in except elections and distributing T-shirts and pamphlets in the crossroads, which is what Justice does very well as a branch chairperson. Now Justice is elevated from secretary to chairperson. It's like Putin and Medvedev in Russia. They exchange. The other one this time become a prime minister. The next one becomes a... Yeah, no, I'm just giving an example which might be impractical. So at some point, branches must evolve. But we can't doubt his commitment to the branch. I mean, he's the only person all the time who reminds me about the membership status. That no, you are not in good standing. You know, these people who are resigning in the ANC now and then, they are not even members. And then I go there and then find that they are not members of the organization. How many of you here have got a new membership card of the ANC? How come you don't have RS? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you are right. That is why I'm asking, why is the process and the flow of membership cards so slow to arrive at this branch? Because you know we launched the membership card And then the membership card, members should be getting their cards in branches. And we went here in Johannesburg region where we did the rollout at more than 2,000 members. What was the branch? We did in 2 branches. And then we did it here in Johannesburg. So you were the first last month, if I'm not, in Gauteng to get, not last year, this year, where we launched. Remember, you didn't have a membership card. You were having a slip. So we have transformed that. So it means the pace of delivery is it's not just low, it's non-existent. If I can be in a room, I'm the only one with a card because I produce them, then it's a problem. It's not a criticism. It is something that, from a point of view, and you are correct, I don't produce membership card in my office per se, but I oversee the rollout. So that's the problem that must be addressed, because we have now overcame the problem of not having a card. Because members, when they come to the BGM, they must produce their cards. And then they produce their card, they are in. It means if you don't have a card, I can eliminate you in the system. I mean, like one example Comrade Khalima likes to make in his branch. The chairperson arrived at the BGM, and then when everybody was entering, he only saw it that day he's not a member. And then he said, no, but I'm a member. The secretary eliminated him. And then he could not make it inside. And then the chairperson, who was supposed to open and give a report about the state of the branch politically, he could not do it because he was not a member. But that is manipulation. So the card guarantees ubulungu bakho. You are not dependent on another member. You are not a member of another member. You are your own member. If people say you are not a member when you come to the BGM, you produce your card. And it's issued once. And that is what I'm asking about. So it's not an issue that needs a workshop. It's a question of the distribution mechanism that comrades are employing. But I know one of the technical reasons that they gave was that it is very difficult to upload the face of the comrades in terms of the BGM. I can just attach it here. Yeah. So to upload the face digitally has been a challenge for most of our branch process of producing membership card. So we must address that particular problem. And if all of you here, none of you can produce a card, including the regional secretary, then that membership card system does not exist. So we must. But we have subsidized heavily because of years of members of the ANC going around without membership card. We have said that let's give membership card, expensive as it is, for free. So we're distributing cards for free, and it's quality membership card with the founders of the ANC. It's a pity I left my wallet. I would have shown you. Yesterday I was in Pretoria at the ANC Ntate Cholo's celebration. There was an old lady there, a centenarian from Dobsonville, Comrade Khalima's, not Dobsonville, somewhere there around Pimville. She produced her membership, up to date, 100 years old. And then she was wearing the colors of the ANC. And then she showed us the membership form that she have signed and the FNB slip. And then she put that in a plastic, covered it in a plastic. And then ubeyikhupha apho makhulu. I'm a member. You see, 100 years. So bulungu bakhe a membership uyigcinile, which is very much important. So membership is very important. You can be a fan, but up until you become a member, and a member in good standing is different. I'm a fan of Orlando Pirates, and then I'm not a member. I'm a supporter. We've got supporters, remember, outside us who are here, who support the ANC, but they don't carry membership. These are the kind of people who say, who are supporters. This time around, I'm not voting them. I'm voting another party. But when now it's you who move out here and mobilize people to vote for the African National Congress. So comrades, today and this weekend, I've had 2 encounters in terms of membership. And the first encounter was with the centenarian, and then the second one is in my branch. So it means from here onwards, the membership situation must be accelerated in terms of the membership card, so that members can be proud of this, because it is launched. There can never be another launch. It is launched in the meeting of the National Executive Committee, and it must cascade down to the ground. So branch is very important. That's where I thought I must start, about the role of the branch, which is very important. An organization without branches, a mass organization, is like a house without foundation. That house will perish. And the reason why the ANC is unmatched in terms of wall-to-wall campaign, it is precisely because of how we are structured as an organization. You will never find a party or an organization that exists across the length and breadth in every ward in the country like the ANC. You will find the ANC everywhere. Even in areas where we have not won a award, you will find us there as the African National Congress. So this branch then link up with the structures like the REC and so on. The branch have got important powers that even the REC does not have. REC powers are delegated. When the PEC is angry, they take them away from time to time. But the branch power is permanent. That's when the structures, when they sing the song, but Amandla Asemasebe. It is you who elect leaders in conferences. It is you who shape policy in conferences. Nobody else. We are now going to the National General Council. We cannot have that particular General Council without branches. Others, even if they will not get there, they will elect representatives. And then, in the true nature of the ANC, when you have elected somebody, it might not be the chairperson or secretary or anybody, but elected in the BGM to go and represent you, that person, when he or she comes back, must give a report. So that it doesn't only give a report of who was elected, which these days you can even see on TV. But it must give the report in terms of the decisions and the mandate that you would have given as a branch in terms of those decisions. Now, some of the people who are branch leaders and delegates to conferences leave the mandate along the way of the branch, and they don't come back and give back the report to the branch. So what they do, they go to a conference and they even deviate from the mandate, including who to elect. That one is the first sellout position they take. You give them a position here to elect justice. Along the way between here and the conference venue, they've joined others, they changed the mandate. But in terms of the ANC constitution, they say it is allowed. Because a conference is a conference of delegate, because you change your status once you enter into a conference. Now, you allow yourself to be persuaded by others, as much as you've got the mandate of the branch. And that mandate evolves from the branch to the province, from the province to the conference. So, but it doesn't change your status that you are a branch person. And therefore, it means in that position, you can listen to others and be persuaded otherwise. So, comrades, the branch is the foundation of the African National Congress in terms of the work that we want to do. And the primary task of the African National Congress today remains the mobilization of all classes and strata, as defined in the strategy and tactics of the ANC. And the task of all ANC members, therefore, is to serve the people loyally and selflessly, without expectation of material reward or personal gain. And the ANC has always understood that to lead the NDR successfully, it has to renew itself. And that is the topic you have given me to address. Renewal, comrades, is about whether or not you stagnate where you are, or at the same time you evolve as society evolves. You evolve as well as the party. Some years ago, we didn't have advanced digital platforms that we have. There was no globalization. We were meeting manually, doing things manually and all of that, but the world has become smaller. You can talk and decide things with somebody who's in New York today. And you can create friendship with people today because of the digital platforms. And that has come as a result of globalization. Now, globalization is a phenomenon located within a capitalist mode of production. So it has got its own advantages and disadvantages. One of the key advantages of globalization is the technological highway and the connectivity of people, and making things move faster than you could have actually imagined. But the biggest disadvantage is the fact that the world is becoming closer to each other, but the advantage is that the rapid success story of capitalism have entrenched inequality among nations, unevenness. And therefore, what we have come to see in the evolution of society is the deepening crisis of unemployment, poverty. And therefore, what we have seen out of this process of globalization, among others, is the deepening crisis of unemployment among nations and uneven development of economies and so on. So, the 54th National Conference of the ANC, having assessed the state of organization, instructed the leadership and general membership to embark on a process of organizational renewal, which is what we are doing. And what is that renewal? Renewal should no longer become a matter of speeches and academic papers, but a matter of urgent implementation. Renewal and unity of the organization can never be achieved by just preaching on platforms and making bold statements that are meaningless. Unity and renewal require bold action from the leadership and membership of the organization. Unity and renewal can only be successful if the organization rededicates itself to the application of the principle and values, norms, and practices of the organization, as reflected in a number of policy documents and resolutions of the organization. Comrades, we can only ensure the realization of organizational renewal and unity of the organization only if we truly develop a coherent and common meaning of what organizational renewal and unity of purpose is. So what is the meaning of renewal and unity of purpose in the ANC? Organizational renewal, correctly understood and applied, should mean the organization cleansing itself of all the elements and practices that seek to disregard organizational discipline, values, ethos, traditions, and practices. In practical sense, organizational renewal should mean correcting the actions and practices of individuals and elements within the organization who abuse organizational principles for their factional and selfish interest, especially the criticism and self-criticism principle. Correcting the individuals and elements within organization who show no regard at all for the principles of collective life of the organization, but to follow one's own inclination. Correcting the populist and destructive actions of individuals and elements in the organization who engage in personal attacks, pick quarrels, vent personal vindictiveness, or seek revenge instead of entering into constructive engagement for the sake of unity and progress of the organization. We have become big on this rumor mongering and doing things that seeks to undermine our cohesion. Correcting actions of individuals and elements who engage in irresponsible criticism in private or public platforms instead of actively putting forward one suggestion to the organization. Correcting the actions and activities of individuals and elements who will say nothing to people to their faces but to gossip behind their backs, or to say nothing at a meeting but to gossip afterwards. So if you don't call meetings also, where will you vent criticism? If there is no platforms like the branch general meetings, where will we vent criticism? The organization dies, and then we become part and parcel of society, and we become part and parcel of the cacophony of voices in society that complain. And then we are part and parcel of that, because there is no platform of engagement. Comrades, failure to address these weaknesses in the organization will result in a further downward spiral and erosion of the ANC that will have an impact in society. We think that society is another world, but society is influenced. And the reason that society is not moved is because our hegemony and our ideas are not believable in society. It's precisely because of the capacity of that organization. Comrades, there are two things in society: is believability. Believability, that what you say get to be believed by the people that you lead and those you don't lead. When you appear before the people, the story that you say, people believe it. That no, it is the ANC, we know them, we have difficulties, they will come back, they will sort things out. We must not say to the people, we will sort things out and disappear and never come back. We are big in our squabbles, but not big in terms of resolving people's issues. So we need to resolve people's issues. And some of us now, we have become people who are like heathens. Because if you are a heathen, you are something else that is like, which does not believe in self-correction and renewal. And at the same time, you are uninspired by hope. You are hopeless. In psychological terms, they say you suffer from learned helplessness. So, in the meaning of it, it means that you don't believe that you can change things and influence society. So, we've become part and parcel of the complainants. You know, a heathen, umdonga kolwayo, ukala emzini, ata tutuzele ngabantwana, kuthiwa entade, awuthule man, ulisa libana. Because everybody has got faith. As much as I've lost my parents, my sister, my brother, my daughter, my uncle, but there is this RDP you've got in you that things will be better. So you cry because you've got to release the pain. But at the end, you accept that this person is dead, will never come back. But the spirit lives on. And our faith and denominations are different. Others are non-believers. But others, there is nothing like a non-believer actually. Because we all believe in something. The fact of the matter is that there are those who say, I don't believe in life after death. There are others who say, I do. But the fact of the matter, all of us, we believe. If you don't believe in something like there is no life after death, in scientific terms, you believe that when somebody is dead, is dead. That's what you believe in. And yet to konza and believe in a person, in spiritual terms, some of us believe that the spirit lives on. The remembrance of that person in the walk of life, what you were doing whilst you still live, you were basically living a history that will make you to be remembered forever. Even when we are sitting and socializing, in no time, we find ourselves in our tongue entangled in the talk about you. What would have been the situation if he was still alive? Where will this country be if Chris Hani was still alive? And when we start to relate who was Chris Hani, you get inspired to say this revolution can't fail. Let's fight on. Because Chris would have wanted this and that. So Chris Hani is alive, he's not dead. Because of the ideas, we quote, we think, we translate, we want to be like Chris Hani. Those are our leaders, those are our heroes. And that's where you are. So life goes on. So I don't believe in this thing that there is a non-believer, atheist. Just say, I'm not a Christian. Don't say you are a non-believer. Just say, no, I don't believe that there is God. But there is something you believe in. And then you see a person, a changed person, saying, umntu wezinyanya, uyathwasa. But besithi, hey, mna I'm a non-believer. Ungazi le comrade ijike, ijike zingxaki zomhlaba. So the fact of the matter is that renewal also, comrades, is like that. Renewal is also like that. It's not stagnant. It's not stagnant. It is ever changing. It adapts to conditions. And that is why they say adapt or die. So if you don't adapt, you die. To the changing conditions, you still apply the old tools of mobilization. And then you will be surpassed. You will become the old liberation movement that is not followed because you are using two old tools of engagement with the people. But there are certain things you cannot leave. If you build a household and you live in a family, it is defined by traditions, customs, and values. You don't leave your values simply because there is change. The value defines who you are. It starts first in dialectical terms by you as a human being, where you exist and how you connect with the environment that you live in. And that particular environment is the environment of what is around you and how you as a human being connect with the environment. And that is how you basically look at things. So renewal is about understanding that things do change, and therefore we've got to adapt. We need to then say that we need to shape up. When I talk about heathens, is the fact that we cannot complain like we can't change things. Things are changing around us. And then there are still people who say that, no, nothing is happening. And you don't see around us things are happening. You know, comrades, let's pick one thing. Let's talk about corruption. We no longer talk about what we have done to fight corruption. We have accepted what those who want to bring us down have basically sold to society. That ANC is rotten to the core, and that there's nothing to believe in here. There's no turning back. ANC is gone. Let's take that particular point and look at the state through the ANC's influence. What is happening around us? What institutions we have actually created around us, and what are they doing? In government, we have seen that there's so much corruption that could happen here. So we must create laws that are not just going to mitigate, but deal with this rampant corruption. What brings corruption, comrades? When we came into power, we inherited this big animal called the state. And now this state, we are looking at this state, it's a big animal. And then in this state, there is huge resources. There is huge resources here. You are given a position today, and then you are in charge of billions and billions of rands. And then you then start to become an attractive person to society because you control and you are in charge of these huge resources. And that is what has actually happened. And two, here is the process of tenders. You can get rich through a tender. Look at the profile of people who are accused of corruption who have benefited out of tenders. They have not finished school, they are crooks. But their proximity next to people who control resources have made them rich. Very few of them. The names we read about in public, go and find them. But when you look close to them, you'll find that they are rich because of their proximity. They are close to Mbalula because Mbalula happened to be the minister, or Mbalula happened to be the CEO, and then things get to be channeled through the supply chain management and everything else, and this crook get rich. Look at their profile, all of them, and then look at yourself and the profile of these people who are mentioned here. And the houses now, they happen out of the proceeds. It is alleged they got out of proceeds of corruption. Who are they? What are their struggle credentials? But they don't have struggle credentials. But the biggest loser in that is the ANC. They are associated with us. Then ask yourself a question, why? Why? Somebody goes there, win a tender of 360 million. 360 million at the police. That person is not a member of the ANC, comrades. It's not. No hal we win ema poliseni apho cinga bafana kukho abantu abajonga amasela. We win ema poliseni la 10 360 banjiwe accused ngento ezinkulu lweli bail. This person credentials in the struggle and the ANC dololo. But you know why, comrades? These tenders, they will never flourish if they don't have connection with some of us who wield political power. Behind every crook, there is a political figure. Now, this is what is called bureaucratic bourgeoisie that was characterized by Joe Slovo, that emerged out of the Bantustans. Bureaucratic bourgeoisie, not even comprador, because comprador bourgeoisie are those who accumulate wealth out of external influence. Those ones, ngabetenda, they accumulate a bit of wealth out of political connectivity. Motlanthe talks about this thing in 1996 in his report, that the ANC is mortgaged. Now, in renewal, how do we deal with that? And what have we done? Mbeki in 2007 introduces laws including PRECA and say, baman, and therefore PRECA is going to kick in to deal with this corruption out of political connectivity. That's why people get to be charged with that. But tenders is things that can make people very, and they've made us to fight among ourselves. And then we went further, introduced institutions, SIU, proclamations. But these institutions over time were weakened. And that's what we're rebuilding now. So when I say, singakhali njengabantu abangengomakholwa, who are not believers, who've got no faith. But also faith is built on something concrete. We must have faith that things will change because we see the decisiveness of leadership in terms of dealing with rampant corruption in the state, in particular, element of the state, which is government. So, government corruption is rampant because of tenders. Tenders have become an enabler of corruption within government. Because government is not entirely the state. The state is bigger than government. Government is just but one element of the state. And the foundational course teaches you that government is one element. And when you look at that, because of our ascendancy to political power and being exposed to resources so huge that we had to manage, we then got to be exposed to this, and others thought that is the picnic. And you're not going to resolve that either than making it a point that the state is strong and is not weakened. You see the things that are alleged there at Zondo. They implicate the state. So once the rule of law and the state is weakened, forget, you are on a big highway to Banana Republic. We have just come out of the grey listing now, which is very important. But once the rule of law collapses, and what is the rule of law? The rule of law is the institutions you build. And if they collapse, picnic. There is a time, even whether correct or wrong, whenever they say the Scorpions have surrounded the building of Maspala, you know that somebody is going to be arrested, but convicted. But today, even when you see the Hawks, there's no worry. That crook is going to come back next week. That's when people lose hope in the state. This thing, it can't be corrected by just speeches and rhetoric. It's renewal. Renewal means strengthening state institutions. Institutions that must fight this corruption. So we can't cry like we don't have faith. We are in power, comrades. And this renewal is going to make us fight. Joel Nechitenze says, those who don't want it will do what? Will not allow it to succeed. And they will never go down without. That's what Joel said. Joel Peter Maibui said, those who are against renewal and who are fighting it will never go down without a fight. They will never. They will want to drag others down with them and undermine the renewal project. So the renewal project, which is influenced by the ANC and wrapped off into the state, is what the 55th conference mandated us about defining the content of that renewal. And that's what Ramaphosa, as a president, is leading. It's not him, it's what the conference said we must do. What did they say we must do? They said at some point we have veered away, we must come back. It was reflected in our manifesto. Because we have begun to do things like state capture and all of that. And the effect of that has wrapped off to what we've got today. And somebody gave an example there and says that at some point, the state collapse party apportions that on an individual. At some point, the state actually collapsed. Now, talking about the policing system in the country. It's not only police, it's even institutions, others, that were going to help us, were basically being corrupted. Worse off the tendering system that we've got in the country and within government. So the question before us is, what do we do as a party in terms of this? Most importantly, the ANC needs to focus on 5 critical areas in terms of renewal: commitment and dedication to rebuilding the ANC, investing in ideological development of ANC members. That's very important. That's why we've got the foundational course that we're implementing. That foundational course is empowering us as members to have the capacity to think for ourselves and to be independent and assist our organization to grow ideologically and to be able to see on our own between the wrong and right and make our analysis independently going forward. Consequent management, ensuring revolutionary discipline of ANC members. Governance and improving service delivery challenges and decisive action. We didn't have this terminology. It's not part of our lexicon. Service delivery. It's new. Mbeki didn't like this at some point. He said, what is service delivery? But we've got it now. Service delivery to the people. It's part of us. It's things that we have inherited along the way. But they don't come from us. We just got them from universities and then put it and then say there is something called service to the people, and therefore we must deliver. Effective guiding and responding to governance and organizational challenges. Comrades, if I am going to stand in front of you as the Secretary General belonging to a collective, we don't provide answers in the challenges that we face in the country and then cry with the rest of society, then how will society believe in us? When President Walla, Libom Palula Gamuballa, Aye. Le Oswole Osativing Frontline State King, the leadership is on autopilot. I don't know how Sarabueta Pili. Upalwa ku tseba frontline state king. Mar autopilot to tseba tsuwa fela there's autopilot in this country. So leadership means we must do extraordinary things in terms of decisiveness. And you comrades have given us the mandate to do those things. And those things will make you not to have friends. You know, here in Joburg, we are supposed to appoint, these comrades are supposed to do something here. When you ask them a question, they don't think about the ANC. They tell you what others are doing. You see a co-opted organization. It doesn't say, ANC is no longer in a position to say, ANC must be in a position to say, we are 40%, but we want Bella Act. We are 40%, but we want, what? NHI. If that breaks the back of the camel, let it be. The ANC cannot say, in this coalition we are in with DA and everybody in the GNU, we succumb to you. The fundamentals are fundamentals, because I was saying to the DA one time, what you are asking us is to close shop. I was in the White House meeting with the people there who are talking a lot of things about us. I say to them in the United States of America, they said I went to Libya. I went to also White House, and it was never advertised. You don't know that. Because I don't write a memo. I'm the Secretary General. I report to Ramaphosa. I say, President ngishona ngala, or nguyong tumai. Ngibizi press conference, ngithunyiwe. Uyayazi mangisuka la ukuthi ngashona eZimbabwe tonight ziyaduma. I must advertise that. I won't do that. I'm elected. I don't have luxury to go to these countries and all of that. I mean, just for fun. Don't have that luxury. Some of these countries are dangerous. Comrades, you must know that. But we have committed ourselves to promoting peace and building bonds between ourselves and other nations. So, we do this work in terms of the organization, which is very, very, very much important. Now, we account to our membership about that based on the responsibilities that we've got. So renewal in itself requires us as political organization engage in political activities and all the time interrogate what is to be done. What is to be done must be with us all the time. In line with the ANC strategic goal defined in the National Democratic Society, which is our goal, we live for that every day. And what I said to people in the White House, I say to them, what you are asking us to do, when you say, they say to us, these Americans of President Trump, they say to us, we must do away with PE. I said, most you are asking us to close shop. You are asking us to close shop. If you say PE, triple PE, affirmative action, you are saying to us, we must kill redress. That's why we are ANC. You are saying we must then cede power to the DA. They must then be in charge. We are not them. We might meet there in the government of national unity, but we are not one. So defining who we are in that government, Comrade Sasabo, means we must fight what is right. Sellout position will mean giving up on Bella Act. We are not going to pass any law now, comrades, easily. Let me guarantee you. We have worked very hard. But there is no law that is just going to pass now. As you can see, even the budget doesn't just flow. We have to wait because we have lost power. Yeah, comrades, when you ask them a strategic question, you are in Joburg, all of us were in Joburg. You must ask a simple question. Don't try to be clever. What is in for the ANC in this thing? If we have to support this thing, what is it? Don't start first by telling me that PA wants this and all of that. What, come and tell us this. Let me tell you in the Western Cape how the ANC lost power. On that point, let me have a Zambak. I'm moving towards the end. How the ANC lost power. Yeah, I'm not. I can't kiss. I'm with comrades here. I can't kiss it. I can't just be kissing it. So what I'm saying, how the ANC lost power in the Western Cape, is when our comrades got to be co-opted into the agenda of the opposition. Remember, we're in the GNU. By vote, not by choice. By vote, that we had to share power with the DA. ANC comrades were gossiping each other to the DA, selling each other out, and ask Mbalula the following questions. And the DA does that. And then the enemy and the opposition began to see that the ANC is weak. Comrades, we are in a coalition in Johannesburg, in Ekurhuleni and everywhere else, but we must not forsake our identity. We must at some point arrive at, I see political parties threaten us. If this thing doesn't happen, we are leaving. Nanzange ndaboni ANC thusa abantu. Uguti nati, if this doesn't happen, nati we are not coming. Asizi. Soloko kumthebelele la ekhaya yonke into iyadlula. For the sake of others. Even they force us to take decisions that are wrong, that we don't support. Why? Because as individuals, let the truth be told, our pockets are lined up. We stand to benefit if so and so is elected or is appointed in a particular position. ANC can't say no. ANC can't say no. ANC agrees with that because comrades are fine. Comrades, the revolution will punish us, not even the masses. The revolution. This thing of the revolution led by people who are fun-loving, nice time, and who just think about fun times, and rather than what is in the interest of the party, is wrong, politically. And we must now reach a point where are these revolutionaries? Revolutionaries are not defined by slogans, are defined by their deeds. If these comrades of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni and Tshwane are fighters in a coalition, we'll see them through their deeds. They are fighting for the revolution not to collapse. Not comrades we send, even in a coalition, then they go there, they get to be transformed by others. They teach us better how the system is good. No, Mchana, don't go that way. The system doesn't work like that. Local government, Mchana, works in a particular way. Yes, we are talk. Yes, Clock said. He's playing with our minds because we are ignorant. He's advancing a particular cause. Comrades are prepared to bury each other, and then they give it colorful things. Not even strategic maneuver or tactical maneuver, just personal maneuver. Comrade for a personal maneuver. Tell us what is in the interest of the ANC in this thing we're about to embark upon. Don't tell us that what are others say. No, before you come to others, did you go to others and say, here is the position of the ANC? or ngumnike mnike. If it is like that, we must accept, most comrades. We understand that. I understand this thing perfectly myself, where I am, that there is nothing we do without negotiating. I understand the perfect position that comrades in the metros are in. And then they say you must climb the back of the crocodile you must climb the frog or whatever to cross. Okay? Akitzibi mavenda bari. President explained this thing to us. He explained it in Venda all the time. And then they say that you must, you walk over the Lotsautaba. Yeah. You walk over that watching and feeling the pain, but the objective you are going to is that one. Comrades don't even tell you that. They just want us to get into these things because bafuna manje bona ukungena in those particular things. The real point I'm emphasizing, comrades, is that can we have interest of the ANC at heart and argue for the ANC? Don't tell me that so-and-so's interest is this. Even PA got K10 at least in Ndwe Melai. K10 will tell you, I'm a brewer, Khanisi, was Baizani. Rina Arna Niximos, we know I was Baiza, why we? Nati must get 30, says Simeng and Doyetu. At least say, I didn't have the mandate of the party, let me go. Not that when I've met Mbalula Ziatu, I tell comrades the other day that, comrades, it's like running a board. I'm the Secretary General, but I'm accountable. I'm at Luthuli House. The president is not here, he's out of the country. The president cannot come in the country and here SG have agreed with Sasavona to take a big decision. I will be suspended, summarily. It's like a CEO of the board who takes a decision to transfer billions without talking to the board. We read about these people, they are suspended, they are dismissed. No, I must preside over the carcass of the ANC. Big decisions are taken and the organization doesn't know. And it's not like I'm sitting on the job at Luthuli House. I'm not being briefed. But no quarantine. Do you want to say announce P? That in no ways. You announce that thing, you are on your way out. Mao Zedong says deal with one to educate others. So the ANC get into the council chamber, they can't take a decision. Because but the decision is done. It's done. The organization. So I'm trying to say to you, comrades, learn to consult. Renewal requires consultation. You can't just do as you wish. When we went to the NEC and we debated, there are comrades who did not agree with the GNU. We debated for 2 days. Eventually we agreed that the right tactical intervention is the GNU. And just to divert a bit, why? There are many options. The opposition says to us when we are negotiating with them, I want to give you an example. When we are negotiating with them, they say, first step, hey, that meeting was going to end very quick. They say, no, ANC, take minority government. Take the whole of national government, run it. And then Tina, get to run legislatures. I'm giving you an example behind the closed doors. It's just that books are written They are not written by you educated scholars and people who write books in days. Come and ask Mbalula what happened in that discussion. Our people are not writing. Omendi Menir Dina Kam book written about GNU. You comrades and our people are not writing about this GNU and most educated people. And when we get there, they say, and then I become interested. But by that time, we had done our work because we had a number of options on the table. And in terms of each option, we analyzed the risks in terms of each option. Before we even come to the option of the GNU, we debate. And then here are opponents, they say to us, no, take minority government and run government on your own. We're not in a hurry. And then I go, and then somebody, you know, the discussions are very complex. When you negotiate in a very complex environment. And then we pick up the vibe that these people are saying that ANC is going to take that position quicker because they are thieves. They want to run government. They are interested in government and blue lights. Leave them. Can you imagine where will we be now? If we had just decided on that and not GNU and accepted that, all of us will still be in cabinet with all the positions belonging to us, but we will never deliver. Because when we go to parliament, we're going to meet something like this. And that is why we agreed to GNU with elements of confidence and supply. That you are in government, let's go all together, but at the same time we can share the spoils when it comes to the legislature. In that legislature, there is nothing that passes. You want to appoint somebody, it takes months. If not, they kick it out. They kick it out. Take for an example the budget. We went, we analyze, we say to our people, VAT, mitigate the poor, zero rated. In terms of milk, maize meal, bread, all of that, everything that should be affordable for the working class and our people must be zero rated. They come there, they say no ways, no to VAT, budget ya stuck. Samanati. You think that I relate this story that my hair is gray because of ANC BGMs? No, GNU. We negotiated for full month, back and forth. Now, somebody says, we're negotiating, he says, no, leave them, we'll find them with the budget. Leave the ANC, we'll find them. We start dismissing their ministers and all of that. And then came the budget. It was tougher than you would have liked. We had to cut corners, come to the reality. Eventually, what was our decision but in the best interest of South Africans? We had to retreat. We had to retreat. What is the solution? And all of that. And so on. We had to retreat on that particular thing. So there is nothing that goes without being negotiated today in this government, in this country. But the ANC have maintained, taking off from the 6th administration to the 7th administration, we have signed into law. We have signed into law pieces of legislation that we passed with our majority in the last administration. And they want to block it now using the judiciary. They are putting everything on review in terms of the judiciary. And that is when now the judiciary wants to prescribe policy from the bench. Also, there is a danger there. that the judiciary can define policy from the bench, which now raises a new debate about separation of powers, and which is very fundamental. And there is the example. A judge can decide, give people antiretrovirals without a process that government would have undergone to test all of these things. A big debate we had in this country about mother-to-child transmission, never pie, and what you call these drugs of HIV and AIDS and ARVs and all of that. We had a big debate at some point. And then the issue became, can this be prescribed without passing the test of clinical research in our own country? We just bring drugs here and give to the people without it being properly channeled. And then that's when they started to insult to Mamumanto, Mtwe Petrut, and all of that and so on. May his soul rest in peace. But the fundamental debate around that question was a question of separation of powers. That judges were now encroaching in the space that did not belong to them. So they are now seeking to undermine transformation in our country by using the judiciary. You pass Bella Act to the judge. You pass this, it's tested to the judge. So everything Matamela signs into law is being challenged right now as we speak. That is a consequence of losing a majority, comrades. And the tactical maneuver for the ANC was GNU, not minority government. Minority government was going to sink us further. This thing that we love blue lights, we love everything else and controlling government. Remember, when you are there and the legislature is in this direction, the point is that you are vulnerable. You are vulnerable. So this time around is up and down. You go to the legislature, we go. And then it is GNU with elements of confidence and supply. There are people who are in the GNU who are not in government, and they've chosen that we don't want government. Like Rise Mzansi, they are chairing Scopa, Songezo Zibi. Because at least he's got principles. Asimarata hele urno this was former Minister of Justice or something. Tina ANC, why we don't have breaks? Once somebody show us a position, we go there running. Comrades, the ANC, in terms of its capacity, that we've got, you being the branches, to come back has proven to be difficult. Even in Cape Town, where we are supposed to be an outright opposition. Here in Johannesburg, we have now been in coalition for the second term. We then need to shape up. And I'm happy about what our comrades inside this coalition in Johannesburg are doing. There is identity now, I begin to see, of our mayor doing things. I'm very happy about that. But that was lacking for some time. It was. And then you want to blame it on others. That is the same, comrades. We control most positions in the government of national unity. Why are we worried about a small party? Why? We run government. We run government. Nobody else. Comrades get panic when Mantashe says capacity tool. He was saying it in jest. He didn't mean we don't have capacity. Jest means ube joka. wagcina serious kakhulu naye. And then the opposition and our enemies wanted to use that against us. And I understand perfectly. Comrades are in a difficult situation on the ground. And then to be told that you don't have capacity. By far again, we are what? And our comrades got a bit edgy about it. But here's the reality when the feelings are gone and the cameras are gone. Here's the reality. The ANC must perform better. If you compare apples to apples, if your opponent has got the same resources as you and is outperforming you at the same level you are at, why? It means there is a problem. So it brings us to the question of leadership, intervention. And that's why we have adopted this intervention action plan. But if that action plan is not going to mean anything, it's useless. I'm from a meeting before I come here. We have taken decisions, but I'm not going to tell you. We're going to announce them this week. It's not going to be there. It's going to be everywhere in the country by November. But some of the decisions border on the ineptness and at the same time corruption and at the same time lack of governance. We have had to intervene to change things. Many things have happened in front of us as leaders. Municipal manager useless, siyamyeka. Because municipal manager, sorting us out. Sorting, not even us, 1%. Wake wayibona apho umuntu ayitya imali yethenda abe rich kangaka eyedwa. Yeah? Not Pulukwani here in Joburg. There are many tenderpreneurs here who are very okay. 1% with tender money and all of that because I'm a comrade grant. And I'm a comrade wethu akathengwa ngemali bathengwa ngemali eziningi 50 rand 100,000. Politician right. Thina siyezwa laphana mawuhleli social politician unika imali engaka. Hayi. You know, most of our comrades have been charged. Some of them are on there en route to jail for 300,000. And then a criminal has gone home with millions. A poor politician, comrade Yako, has compromised himself and the ANC for 300,000. 300,000. Mameli scandal. A comrade is going to jail en route for 300,000. A crook has pocketed millions of rands. And then claiming in the meantime that this is going to the ANC. Nothing. Nothing comes in the direction of the movement. Even this ANC you are talking about. The people have lost believability in the vehicle, but they believe in the ideas. They believe in the ideas of the ANC. So all in all, what I'm saying, comrades, is that this question about corruption and renewal, it doesn't mean that we must cry like heathens. There is faith, there is direction. If leadership here in Joburg is just obsessed about who becomes the next chairperson and secretary and have lost track of governance, you will lose power here. It will be gone. Azange mna ndababona osasabona bexakekile besilwela ukuthi siwine apha eJoburg. And andimhlebi ndimxelela phambi kwenu. But they are very fast on the first lane about elections. Hayi apho ngabatholo sasa hayi ngeke ulale. But baye bangikhuthaza mangibona besilwa kukwama by-elections in Babone, they are united. By-elections, they are united. We lost a by-election there. Nangoku asikalali nguMashaba. You see, when the leadership here in the region is giving guidance to this branch, leadership, Not when they want our votes, when there is a conference. This conference of Joburg is going to pass. But the bigger agenda is beyond the conference. It's about how we sustain ourselves. Because we are facing existential crisis. We are facing existential crisis. And fundamentally the question is, what do we do about that? What do we do about that? And that is what is facing our leadership. Not only national, yeah. We want the revolutionaries, indeed, who are fighting. You should be telling us, yeah, comrades, we are not going this direction, we are going this direction. Yeah, on the ground. You should be showing from the front that we are reclaiming this Johannesburg. Stop arguing about some Magogo who's announced. Nathi, let's have our own Magogo. Yeah, kawukhuluma ngabanye abantu. Awuboni mos naseluthula sikhulumi ngalamuntu. Namanje angeke nimbize ngegama. Uyabo, masibe newari ngento yethu. I'm happy now. I see the ANC focused, the mayor focused. That mayoral position is big. Even here, Sasa, when we're negotiating, and then comrades were negotiating, they said, no, give them mayorship. We know that's what they want. And then bona bazabela position as imnandi that are about delivery. And then nina ngoba nithanda into ezimnandi, mayor, you go rush in there. So Manitola mayor as ANC, he 77. You are not governing alone here. But why are people in Johannesburg believe that most of the problems in Johannesburg are now problems of the ANC when we lost power 10 years ago? And this DA that is making so much noise, they ran this place down. There was Mashaba here, Nilibet. When we lost power, there was him, Ehambela Pezul. And then they fought among themselves, working with EFF. They were working here. And EFF said, no, we are not coming into the council. We are staying out. Even now, Mpomwerani, may his soul rest in peace. He died being a leader of the opposition here in Johannesburg. We lost Joburg, and for some time, we're not even in the executive. But our comrades could not even exploit that possibility. We run a whole lot of constituencies around Johannesburg are under the ANC control. DA, where they win with bigger numbers. You know why? Abelungu, they don't need to. They are convinced wherever they are, DA. Nobunga vusa tomorrow what vote. We have vote. Our people, you've got to bavuselele. Why are we in the disadvantage? It's because these people have been battered by apartheid for more than 300 years. And they've seen oppression. And they expect a lot from us. Even if we don't convince them, at least by our deeds, we must convince them that we are with them. But if our deeds are far away from them in terms of renewal, and therefore, but they do understand, Bona, they must live in poverty language there, but our deeds are saying something different, they will get demoralized, but they won't leave us. As it has happened, they will get demoralized. They'll say, but our leaders have sold us out. And that's where renewal kicks in. What is renewal? Renewal means we must walk the talk. We must do things that when our integrity is challenged, we must be in a position to take steps to address that. Now, Joel was right, it's not going to be easy. We are quick to coalesce and come to a corner to defend wrongdoing. You know, and I thank you, comrades, as members of the ANC, for giving me this opportunity to lead you as SG. You know, some of the comrades, in this position, things they say to me, I go home sometimes regretting, why did I stand? And then they say, hey, this thing of integrity and the things you are preaching is ofika nakuwe one time. Now threatening me not to, to place things on the agenda. And then now I'm also it looks like I'm going to be alone here. And then they say, hey, Mchana, you are going to be alone in this thing. But the fact of the matter is that it comes with the territory. You've got to deal with things that even affect your friend in the organization and put them across. And then if they define you as a problem, then they start to organize how to remove you. If they define you, good day, a problem here to heal. Now, comrades, I'm happy to be removed for pursuing renewal than being removed because I'm corrupt. I'm happy. I must be removed because I'm pursuing renewal, not because I was inept in dealing against corruption. If that is the issue, then let it be. And corruption does not have eyes. If it affects me, it must eat. Organization must be decisive. Because the ANC, we can't be crime foul. We must keep on repeating ourselves like Casey and Jojo, that the ANC didn't send people to steal. Those who steal must stand on their own. We are members of the ANC, and this ANC is not going to die in our hands. If Mbalula steals, ANC didn't send you to steal. Face the law, Budi, or Sisi. Face the law. And as peace, sibatabangele nabantu base South Africa, in the positions that we are in, history demands of us to succeed. And it doesn't start with the people outside. It starts with the members, Nina, members of the ANC. Who must go and influence society about your organization? You get to be insulted. Even insulted. One about talking those Kaizer Chiefs, Abasa talking as is the ANC. That's the best you can wear. No be Chiefs here, Liwan de Aitoga Mato. Kunzi Mukoga le ANC. I t-shirt. Funakui Kogi t-shirt ya ANC. Ungasad. Because you know, people identify themselves. We are not going to organize people through Kwaito or Mapiano concerts. We are going to organize them through the reality of intervention. And I'm happy about Justice because with Justice, you will never miss him in action. And comrades of this branch, it can be ungafunga nokuthi bangena isikole vets. You will get fees must fall. About Justice, they are there. Dambuza Justice ungene vets what damfumane hambela phambili pha. Ehleli pha umtshana mesithi no comrade Mbax. Look, it's when he was there. I didn't know we can't leave the students alone. Did he hear? I'm a minister that time. Uyang mem uthi manje marchini yabantwana besikolo uthi hey chief, I'm a minister man. These people are marching my direction. You say I must join them. And then Banabo AKA that time, may his soul rest in peace. AKA. So they are there joining the students, they're going to union building. That's how and that's what the struggle means. You become the voice and you are amongst them. And that's what is important. And renewal needs us to be that. Exactly that. So, comrades, it is going to be important before we look very far and outside ourselves. Let's look inside and lead our renewal in as far as ourselves we are concerned. Let us not be concerned about what others think about us. Who will they think about? Because we are in power. It is called incumbency. Don't blame people when they wake up and think about the ANC and blame them for this and that. They blame us because we are in charge. And the easiest job of the opposition is to look at the ANC. And then you just wake up and open your mouth against the ANC. You are in the business of politics. Open your mouth about the ANC. General practitioner. Open your mouth where it's painful. Hammer, come in, hammer, and all of that. And then all what you do now, open your mouth, criticize the ANC, you are in. And don't feel bad. Even a person you know is challenged, even in their own personal life. Abantu bavuka ngathi ngosikwezi insuku. Umuntu uyiswe ngumculo uwile uvuka ngathi. Umuntu was a soccer player wasela utshwala wayimosha ibhola yakhe uvuka ngathi. Mawufuna uba popular nje. The easiest thing you can attack is the ANC. You want to be popular and be affirmed emsebenzini in a radio station, open your mouth at 6 a.m. every day. And then they will praise you. Hey, are we sabi when ANC? Me, I tell them where to get off. You guaranteed that you will be employed for the next 5 years. You are doing a great job. You'll be praised. Doors will open for you. In no time, you will be in the US. You will be everywhere in Europe. Kungaziwa lo muntu unyuka kanjani so fast. Awuyazi when into edlisayo la. Into emnandi. Criticize the ANC. And then if you want to be in the streets, come close. And then if you are there wearing an ANC, mina ngabona omnye umfana nabantu who freedom has come and they are beneficiaries of it. They are the first who say that this government must go. Ndibone omnye umuntu lana esithi iBE ndake ndamleqa lo muntu lo that no iBE has failed. Now it's black. Now I say you wouldn't be a CEO of a company big as the one that you lead if it was not BEE, an affirmative action. You wouldn't be. Redress. Abelungu banexesha lakho? No ways. That's why we improved BEE to triple BEE. Because we want this thing to be broad-based. Fikelele bantwini. We too don't want wealth that ends in few black hands. Don't be afraid to say that. We don't want that. BE was quickly coming in, and then even those who control wealth, they then began to co-opt us into their agenda. Who were white capitalists co-opted us in their agenda. For us to move faster, we need Fikile Mbalula. He's got credentials. He's got political cover. And that is it. And then comrades got fattened very quick and fast. And then we can mention them. And this ubabiza ngamagama, because if I can mention them, you are going to wake me up in the morning. But lantu buisho ngosoron so it is not right. Now, so that is what has happened here. That even those who are beneficiaries of what we have championed to redress are the ones now who are on the other side. They are shouting the loudest that this government must be brought down. And that's what they say. And then they forget so quick about where we actually come from. So comrades, we are going to win this, and we are winning. And how are we winning is because leadership must be steadfast. Leadership must be steadfast in implementing what we have resolved as the ANC. on renewal. And I've mentioned to you many things that we need to do. First, internal in the party, and then look at outside. And stop crying like as if we've got no faith and nothing is happening. Something is happening. If it is not happening, we must continuously remind each other about that. We must act decisively in terms of implementing renewal. But we must not misunderstand renewal connected to unity, meaning unity of convenience. And that unity means lack of difference. Doesn't mean that. It means that we can differ by telling each other the truth. And that does not mean that you are killing the party, but know the platform where you must say it. Even if you are alone, don't allow wrong things to happen, ujongile. Because if we have this mob psychology, because first we count, how many are you in the top 5, Sasa, who agrees with this policy? We are 4, it's 4 against 1, Mchana, and all of that. And then that's how we run the organization, by arithmetic. So organization is going to die. So unity does not mean lack of difference. We must be persuaded and be engaged, even if you can be alone about the matter that. So we are not in this thing of unity of convenience. For instance, we are united with the Communist Party. And then, vungu, 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 then they come to us about a new topic altogether. No, we are standing on our own. Yazi kumnandi. Then when we are faced with the storm, izizunguzane, where we need each other, and bas attack right at the point when we thought we all understand where we are. We are in trouble. And then they say, no, now we stand on our own. It means these people have got no faith in the NDR and the coming back story of the ANC. If the argument is socialism, is the one that makes us to be on our own, there's nothing you can do about it. It's their program. But if they say, no, we want to come in because state power, immediately after you are at 40%, then it means there is a problem there. It's like being with your lover all the years and then he gets crippled and gets stroke. Hey, you start talking things. Hey, you disappear. And so, you know, I'm still young. I didn't prepare to be a nurse in the house, you know. And most of the time, sitamato stroke. They never get stroke. And so on. So only stroke. Kuba nzima ukuthi nangu baba uthole stroke. Unkosikazi ade ngisemncane kakhulu man. Ukuthi ngizoba unesi la endlini hayi. Kuzofuneka sikuqashela unesi. So uzothola unesi lapha. Of course, it's difficult. You must get a nurse. Nobody at that age will stand. So you've got to do these things. So you stay with something kubi kumnyama. Kubi kumnyama, you stay with it till the end. Because anything can happen in life. So here we are today. The mighty African National Congress is at 40%. Isn't it that moment that we, Communist Party and COSATU, we must be stronger together? This moment. And not at this moment where we say others are leaving, others stay. Of course, they will have reasons. We're engaging with this thing. But I can tell you, comrades, that it's coming. I don't see how, if we are able to avoid it, we must avoid it. But I see the determination of that every day in your branches. in the by-elections. How many by-elections we fought here in Johannesburg, Sasa?
About 9, including those
Yeah.
other parties.
Yeah, and then the Communist Party was there also.
They supported all of them. They worked with us. They are not contesting us.
That's very good, comrades. Give it a big round of applause. and then we won. I mean, you hear what Sasa is saying. He says we worked with them. We contested 9, and we won with the Communist Party. So why should we separate this? And the party, even if they had contested, I'm sure we would have won without them. Because the party has never contested for numbers. It has always come into the ANC for quality. And I'm not undermining that point. But if they then use their strength, and then here is the point where you've got to make us pass. We're contesting, we're in the elections, they've got a manifesto, and then we do have our own. Are we not going to clash on the manifesto on the ground? We're going to clash. One way or the other, the others will eat. But over and above, local government, you are going to have a lot of opportunities to cross the floor to the party. By joining Communist Party. Not because ngamakomanisi, babe ngamakomanisi ngoku. Because ubukomanisi bukhona and all of that. But the communists will never cross the other side. Will stay here in the ANC. So we're facing that particular difficulty. Comrades, in conclusion, I am saying to you that organizational renewal process through which is about cleansing itself of the impurities and sets itself on the path that is in tandem with vision. Unity of the organization is based on the commitment and dedication of the struggle. Understanding and implementation of organization's values, principles, ethos. And remember what I said. If you forget everything else, I said you can never build a house and a household and family without values and ethos. You see a person and a human being complete as he or she is based on where they come from. And a person is defined by his deeds at the personal level and otherwise by how he or she was raised. So there are no compromises. Customs is tete namasiko. Rituals. Ekhaya kuyolukwa. Kuyiwe esuthwini. Kokwenu akuyiwa. But I can't undermine you, but there are things that you do. That when I come close to you, I run away. Yeah, these things that those people are doing there. The Tsongas, the Xhosas, and all of that. We don't do that. So he thinks when you go to the bush, you just go for one thing. So you can't find them. You can't find them for that. But they are values, strong values. That when you see this person, there's something he has not lost. It's respect. But Diana is respectful, you know. He can have many flaws, but respecting people, you can't find flaws. That's how he or she was raised. Even here in the organization, the house we're building of the ANC, if we forgot everything, what are our values? Values of the party, the ANC. And that is why people every day say that, no, the values of Mandela, Sisulu, and all of that are gone. These people, what is the value? The value of the people. That these people don't care about the people. They think about themselves. That is reflected in poor decision making or the kind of decisions we take that do not reflect the value system of the ANC. And I've made examples. The ANC in Johannesburg is not in charge. But the ANC can't get into the coalitions like a melting pot. It must also have an identity. The ANC must also have non-negotiables. How? If you are how, amaXhosa athi waqhawuka ujingi. Exists abantwana bedlala injalo. So we too must be known that yes, we are not a pushover. We can't agree to everything. Okay, let's then persuade each other about this. Because in the negotiation, when you talk to people, you don't win everything. You even go and negotiate with people, but you do have choices. Comrades, we didn't go to the GNU with closed eyes. We are wide awake. Comrades complained, hey, the DA. The DA did not join the GNU because they are our friends. They are not going to cease to be who they are because of we are with them in the GNU. No, they are not. They are even going to be more aggressive. They even claim things they did not do as theirs. All things we did in Home Affairs that are good, they say is theirs. In less than 14 days, Minister Schreiber have done what the ANC failed to do in 15 years. Ikula ma comrade. Which is a lie. Ubeza yenza ntoni in 15 days. That is Mtswaleni's work. Deployed by the ANC. You go to public works. So and so has done work, McPherson. Namakamabo, McPherson. Have done something that the ANC failed to do. In 30 years, you have just done it in 5 months. A lie. Simosho ngumntu pha othatha bribe ADT umuntu omnyama intombazana. Bribe abelungu everywhere. Uyabona abantu abamnyama basimoshayo whom we have deployed. And then kuthiwa iANC. He led to comrades, you must not compromise. People must be arrested. We have allowed it for too long that we allow ourselves to sink with criminals. Indoni lando yo bribe by journalist. Peter Malodo Toito Rungban and Maz. We are bribe wapayan indombazana pa. Yes, we have given women, and women have rewarded us with loyalty and discipline. And I can mention a whole lot of women who led. But when a black soul, given a big responsibility to manage huge responsibilities, you are being paid very well. Number one, as a CEO. Eh? And then when and all of that, we must be proud of that. Yes, it is moving from alleged to seen now. It's no longer alleged. Hey, lendo sibona apa indoni. Nyumbaza umzimba kubi and all of that. We can no longer be part of that. We can no longer be part of that. Questionable wealth. And then it used to be called wealth exhibition. Questionable wealth. People can't explain their wealth. If you have made wealth even through tenders, why are you chased by the system? It means there's something wrong with you. And these tenders are now projected as though there's a lot of money. And yet the money is in the hands of the few capitalists in this country, predominantly white and few. That's why Donald Trump can speak and make a lot of noise as he can. Even to African America, he has just we must say we want to rent any dollar. Because there is nothing like all what those car guards who have gone to America are alleging about our country. Those are car guards. Hungry people who just thought that they are going to heaven. There in America. The privilege they have here, poor as they are, are gone. Poor as they are here, but they lived 5-star. They won't get it in the United States of America. Even the President of America have kept quiet about that thing. There is a mad guy he's trying to bring here as a what is this thing? As an ambassador, an old reactionary force. Donald Trump has bophele yona, usizisela yona up. Hey, we are going to be in conflict with that old man. Yeah, in this country. So, comrades, we are at war here, and it's not over. We are at war, and we must every day be prepared for that. Wherever we are today is a site of struggle. We must fight. So there's no luxury that you are in the GNU and then it's not a site of struggle. You are in Johannesburg. Tomorrow we have officials. They are going to report. They are going to report tomorrow about the things they are doing here. And then others are going to report. The center must hold. The ANC must run Johannesburg. And I'm very happy, and I'm sure yourselves. But the mayor can't be alone in the trenches. We must support him. We must also be in the trenches, but he must lead from the front. And that is what is important for us. Here in Johannesburg is too big. And you are even attacked here by invasions and so on. Nam ngathi ngijikeleza la kwathiwa kukho isquatter camp, Fikile Mbalula squatter camp ngapha. And all of that. So akho mntu ungana squatter camp la. So sasa you comrades and in our branch here, we're very happy. We want a united leadership and we're going to support you. And don't be misled about the issue of leadership choices. Again, Leo comrades, it will come. Who you want in the future, President, because he's living now, everybody talks about succession. That's why we are wasting our time. And we're being hijacked. We're being hijacked there in that discussion. We are in trouble. Who's going to be a leader of the ANC when the ANC have lost power? Next year is a very important year in our organization. Even now, they contest here in the regional level, and when you come close to them, they promise you, will make you president, Singabako. And bayaxoxa. Bayaxoxela nje ukuthi no, nawe xa uthanda izinto, no, it's all right, mchana. And somebody just promising you a big thing like president. And then now I feel man, am I presidential? Our organization has degenerated seriously. Yazi, I come to Zlinganisela. Everyone given a chance. I'm available. Why is going sideways? When you go behind that particular person, they tell you, he candidate uthetha uyabona ke ucingo luwile uyabona yeah but lithotyiwe yo kunqumla nebhokhwe uyabona you see we are all equal. The eye of the needle is gone. You know, when we went to Mangaung and then we elected leadership there, and then in Mangaung, there are people who are new. Nothing wrong with comrades. Bantu Olomisa, very good. But we were shocked in Mangaung conference when these comrades got to be elected and they were number one. I heard of Peter Mukaba, Winnie, all those people were there in the 40s in the National Executive Committee. Number one was Bantu Olomisa. Not that Bantu did not contribute. I know when people talk bad about him, those who don't know him, and when they are angry about him, they say that he's a Bantu stand. Bantu has fought for this country. And that, in revolutionary terms, Tina, we don't deny the truth as revolutionaries. So he fought. Of course, we can criticize him for whatever. But he was in the ANC. So he came number one. But we were shocked because, hey, our leaders were back there. We went to Fikile. As the Youth League, we developed a document called Organizational and Leadership Issues. And then that document gave birth to what you call today through the eye of the needle. We adopted in Fikile. And then we said there's no way that the revolution is going to be led by people who have just come in here. It means the organization is depreciating faster than we thought. Because then leadership had left. Lutulia House, Jonga Chief, please. So leadership had left the organization and went to government. Mandela. Lutulia House was empty. Provinces were empty. Leaders were elected, they were in the legislatures. First time I saw a comrade coming into the legislature and he comes out with a check, advance check of 11,000. Legislature, I used to stay with Kaiser. We're staying in the Free State, former secretary, provincial secretary of the ANC in the Free State. And may his soul rest in peace. He was a friend of mine and a comrade. So, but we're sharing a house. And they went to the legislature, and when they went, he came back, and then he said to him, Chan, and ANC was paying us 2,000 that time, and we were well paid. 2,000 was a lot of money, salary. And then he came back, he said, advance. Hey, I regretted why I didn't put my name in this list. And then in no time, he had a checkbook, he had a credit card. His life was good. In no time, I mean revolutionaries, people who just came from the bush underground. We want power, we're in government. I mean, Desmond Tutu then said, this is a gravy train. And Mandela said, how can a man who have been living in a gravy train tell us that we're in a gravy train? And all of that. Desmond Tutu said, this is a gravy train, we didn't fight for this. So we really saw life in a different light at that particular moment. That is what basically happened. We're not exposed to these things. We didn't know. And Thabo Mbeki take it further, and he says, when we arrived at Union Building, there was not even a paper. It was just a desk. Abelungu had left with their knowledge and everything. So they literally, some of these comrades stood from the scratch to build government without memory. And Abelungu then decided then that ANC will not succeed. ANC, leave them now, but they will lose power in the long term. And Thabo Mbeki talks about that. Not all of them celebrated the new dawn of the new South Africa. They said that these ones are going to falter. And then at some point, we will get our power back. And they then worked on the ANC. And then they invested in the ANC. What did they invest? They gave us all sorts of elements in our movement. And we accepted them because we are this omnibus. They came in with ill intentions and the enemy planted in our ranks. And you see the manifestation of that today. In our ranks, you see, behavior. These people is not come here to build our party. Insulting, rebel arouser, all the time on the fast lane of wrongdoing. That's what has basically happened. We're flooded here. That's why it is easy today. ANC members, an ANC member will never join the opposition. A true ANC member will never. They are now wearing our t-shirts. They speak our language. And they cross and they call themselves former ANC. But they've long been here working for the enemy. And the enemy just tell them, spring now, this is the time. Siba, come this side, we need you. You have been that side here, you have caused confusion, it's enough. Come this side. And then we are flooded by fly-by-nights who have been here, but serving the interest of the enemy and our opponents, right in the belly of our organization. Now, the only way to deal with them is a renewal. It's like in your house, when there's a lot of flies, fagi doom. They die instantly. Fagi renewal. Renewal is your doom. When you hit renewal, they're going to leave. Because you're bringing something that doesn't augur well in their DNA. They won't. You won't be liked for implementing renewal. You know, Sasabona, here in Johannesburg, you are the secretary of the region. You are full-time in the ANC. Your representatives are your councillors. There's nothing. We talk action plan now, but that action plan must tell you who is your best councillor. And then you follow them up. And your report is about who's performing best. Leave the councillor. You now come to the branch. You know your branches. When I was a regional secretary or whatever that thing I was in the youth league, I used to know my branches by body and soul. Not because branches knew me. And I knew them by name, by surname. And I worked with these comrades to build branches. And so you will know the weaknesses from the councillor to the branch. When you give the state of organization, you give it by heart. You know, you can't be told by those comrades as such as them. Or you can't be told by justice here that he's got a branch when he's running a branch on Zoom. He doesn't have a branch. Nina, you turn overnight and become Zoom. And all of that. And justice goes to a conference, is a delegate, but the branch I tangan. And then you must be able as the secretary and say no. But if you are a secretary that perpetuates that corruption, you think that we're running an organization, we give good reports, membership is intensified. In membership, here paper. When you want these members, you don't find them during the election. Because they were never there. They were never there because they were just paper branches of the secretary and all of that. And so, comrades, in conclusion, I am saying that the power that we've got, it's in the branches. And our branch must be the strongest of branches. Branches are defined by activities. There's a lot of things that we need to do here in the branch that attract members. We can meet socially, but we can attract others to be part and parcel. You can't always call people to meetings in today's life, and then you don't say after the meeting there will be drinks. No, in this branch. And then comrades can contribute. When we go now as this branch, we go and visit Kutwakunogu somewhere. It's betita file. 5 rand, 5 rand. The branch can do that. And then thereafter we buy meat, we sit outside, we enjoy ourselves. Those who can afford will buy more. And then we sit and talk politics. Nicely. SG is in this branch of the ANC, and I'm sure there are other people in this branch. We can sit and chill, have a good time, but talk. And the best advice comes from that informal talk. And then we talk about our branch and all of that. We can have a session. You know Moiko Sisulu, may his soul rest in peace. He used to have a company, a little bit of money. But Moiko, every Friday, he will have sessions at his office. And then he will invite me there. And then he says, no, Max, let's just sit. And then we'll talk politics there. Of course, he's got money. Moiko will sponsor drinks, braai, and all the people we will not meet in a normal ANC branch, they will converge there. Get drunk. Hey, they start telling us nonsense about government. Best advisors about, you can think if you give them government tonight, everything will be good. And then over a drink of wine, hey, daughter, who did it? You know, I must tell you, how you guys are failing us. So, the black middle class, comrades, their definition to power is how it affects their pocket. So, the biggest problem with them now is VAT. The biggest problem with them now is petrol. And is the cost of living. The fact that he must get into his car and to fill up a tank of a car is 1,000 something. It's gone from their pocket. Yeah, this Ramaphosa. Yeah. I don't know when are we getting rid of this guy. This is the monumental failure, Fikile. Nisaktrino Ramaphosa apa. And they no longer even say it in the street. Some of them, they say it in my face. But you must get the difference. When you go to the person who's a working class in Soweto, who have praises on Ramaphosa, is different from a person who's a beneficiary of democracy. Because this middle class we've got is a product of our democracy. And because their pockets now are affected, the first thing they think about is this useless government. These things don't think, and they vote for the DA in their numbers. You see them in the queue. In the last election, there were many. And then when I go close to them, over my dead body voting for you. And they don't say it in hiding. And they start telling you about the failures and all of that. They remind you very quick and fast. So if those numbers double up and all of that, we are going to overcome this cost of living thing one by one. And if we were to lose power totally, those who are going to see boom in this economy, they will say we were sleeping on the job. Now, even our comrades who are in government and in power, they are very quick to criticize us. You know, I had a long discussion now with a veteran of the ANC who calls me all the time and gives me good advice as the SG. And I'll mention his name, Comrade Sidney Mufamadi. He always called me without fail and give me good advice. We never meet. But he make it a point that when he picks something, he will call me. We never meet in a meeting. But he make it a point that, and valid points, Max, there is this thing. When we were there in the NEC, we used to have this problem. And this is how we dealt with it. And even today, I see this thing is coming, deal with it in this way. That's contribution. You feel energized. Not people who call me about deployment, but they are 70 years. No. When you are 70, you must be at home, relaxing, and all of that. So the fact of the matter is that comrades, whenever they are asked about their movement, even with the problems that we are facing, they go to town to criticize, do all sorts of things. I don't want to be like them when I retire, when I'm no longer SG, and tell other SGs that they are useless. I was the best of the best in my time. And you know, now I'm concluding. Mandela, You know, Mandela. There is something we must learn from Mandela. Mandela had a lot to say about many things, but he respected us as leadership of the ANC and respected the leadership of the ANC. And he had a lot of criticism that he could make. And Mandela just stayed there. And sometimes I thought that, and we invited him to meetings, he would not come, not because he did not want to, because he was going down about this thing. President Mbeki, he never left like Mandela, but he did a lot for our organization. President Mbeki and his collective. And when you talk about Mbeki era, with your eyes closed, you can point at success stories. One of them, if you forget many, is Mbeki leading us on the question of African Renaissance, on NEPAD. The things we talk about today, Mbeki saw it then that Africa can only rely on its own mineral resources to be respected in the world. And there are basic projects that Mbeki started, UNGA in DRC. And Mbeki's era dealt with the issue of conflict in the African continent. Now, today, we see coup d'etats. But they are unstoppable. Why there will be no coup d'etat in Cameroon when that old man, Boya or whoever, is standing? Tell me why there will be no coup tomorrow there. Some brigadier with short trousers is going to take over there very, very soon. I'm telling you, under Mbeki, we had won this thing. Mbeki said, in the century we are going to is the African century, and the youth must rebel, among others, against dictatorship. And the youth rebelled. Egypt there, Spring Revolution, we brought those dictators down. Mbeki, African Renaissance. Today, coup d'etats are coming back. You must tell me, Museveni is our good friend, but he's been a president for a long time. Mugabe had to be removed by a coup d'etat. Not a coup d'etat. Coup d'etat mixed. Whatever. He had to he nearly died in that position. But we were reserved because we don't want to interfere. These are our comrades. Because they don't interfere in our politics. Zimbabweans have never told us who they like in South Africa, who they don't. So who are we to go to Zimbabwe and tell them that Mugabe must retire? Besiyenza, but don't you think this is the right time? But for you who were there, remember they attacked Mbeki about quiet diplomacy. You remember? And I remember Vavi also attacked me and said that I'm a schoolboy when I said that they are turning left, indicating right. A big article, you must Google it, not just about Dubai trip on, Google it. Google that, but defending the revolution in Zimbabwe. And that's what we did there under Mbeki. It's Mbeki who gave us those politics, why it was important. And it is Mbeki who opened us up to the truth that there is what is called a regime change agenda. And there is regime change. But we ourselves are plowing seeds of regime change to thrive. Here in South Africa, regime change will thrive if we don't implement renewal. Now, Mbeki, as our former president, the truth be told, in our leadership and his generation have led from the front, from a difficult period of transition When they arrived in the union building, they found desks without paper and no knowledge transfer. And they had to run government. And then when they got there, this apartheid left us with a huge debt. But they implemented gear. As much as there was a debate around that, but that is the reality. That's Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki was removed. Not removed. We went to a conference and he lost. I was an engineer, a big one, in that conference of 2007. But I can tell you now for free that as a Youth League president and the Youth League, it was never personal. Unlike others who transformed it to be anti-Mbeki, we were never personal, we were against third term. And that is what we're against. Now, eventually, Mbeki was removed. And Mbeki left as a president of the ANC. He left. He was not corrupt. He was just removed nicely. He left. He never rebelled. He never fought against it. As a president of the country, he packed his bags and left. Mandela, Thabo Mbeki. And then we came to Zuma. Yeah, Zuma, we started nicely in Polokwane. Zajiki izinto. And then we then had all sorts of things that you don't want to imagine and think about, which actually happened. And Zuma, you can point at things like I have pointed at Mbeki in terms of his collective. You will find it difficult. Positives are outweighed by the negatives. Under that administration, the ANC managed to address the issue of HIV and AIDS in a big way under Zuma. But from there, everything else was ravished. Life expectancy increased. And I know now I must take this thing out because Zuma people switch it off.